Hello, welcome along to today's episode of Solving a Telegraph Cryptic Crossword. Today we're going to have a go at Cryptic Crossword number 31051 from the 7th of October. So if you're interested in learning about how to solve cryptic crosswords, or perhaps you're looking to hone your cryptic crossword solving skills, then you're definitely in the right place. I'm going to talk through the solve today, hopefully, and explain where the clues come from, how they're derived, and hopefully we'll have a bit of fun along the way as well. Okay, well let's start, as we always do, with one across. Large parcel oddly wrapped in blue blanket. Okay, so L is sometimes an abbreviation for large, so maybe there's an L somewhere. Parcel oddly can be an anagram indicator. It can also imply that we take the odd letters of a particular word. So the odd letters of wrapped are W-A-P-D. Seems unlikely. The other odd letters going the other way would be R-P-E, maybe. But not really seeing that one. Let's go on to the next one. Tots play cut short. Yeah, okay, so I think this one is dram. So the way most cryptic crosswords are formulated, about 3/4 of them, I guess, is that there is a definition part, a straight part of the clue, and a cryptic part. And usually the straight part is either at the beginning or the end, and the rest of the clue then makes up the other part, the wordplay part. So one of the first things we try and do when we're looking at cryptic crosswords is try and work out which part of the clue is the wordplay and which is the straight part, the definition part. And looking here, the phrase play cut short sounds like wordplay. It sounds like the cryptic part. So I'm looking for a word for a play, but cut short. Literally, that's what we're looking for here. And a play would be a drama. So if you cut short the word drama, you get dram. Now, obviously, the way this clue's written, we're meant to think of tot maybe as a young child in that sense, but actually, in this sense, tot is referring to a small drink of usually spirits, often whiskey. So the answer is dram, which is a small drink of whiskey, a tot. Okay, 10 across. Is certain Republican leaving problem? Yep. Okay, so this is issue. So Republican can be abbreviated to R. R is a recognized abbreviation for Republican. Certain is sure. So if we have the word sure without Republican, we have SUE, and is literally the word is, gives issue, which is problem. And again, the wordplay here suggests that either the straight part is certain or is problem. And the way it's written, is certain with Republican leaving, indicates that this is the wordplay part, the cryptic part, and problem is the straight part. Okay, let's go on. 11 across. Government intended heartless announcement. So this is looking like, so heartless is an indicator to remove the middle letter or sometimes the middle letters of a word. So is this a word that means government with a word for intended, maybe without its middle letters, an announcement? Or it could be the other way around. It could be a word for intended with a word for announcement, heartless. Or it could mean, yeah, I think it means announcement, yeah. So government is state, so the government is the state. Intended is meant, M-E-A-N-T, and if you remove the middle letter, remove the A, you get M-E-N-T. Statement is announcement. Okay, 12 across. Good-looking workers and ordinary me. Yeah, okay, so this is handsome. Workers as a word appears quite often in cryptic crosswords. Sometimes it can be used to mean an ant, so worker ants or worker bees. Often it refers to hands, so farm hands, if you like, farm workers. Workers are hands. And then we have O for ordinary, as in O level, ordinary levels, and me, literally ME, gives handsome, which is good looking. Okay, cowboy might throw this woman out initially. Yeah, now if you read this as cowboy might throw this woman out initially, a woman is a lass. Out initially, literally the initial letter of out is O, and you get lasso, which is something that a cowboy might throw. Next one. In secret, I rediscovered what you did at bedtime. Okay. Yeah, so this is a hidden clue. The word in here is telling us to look literally in the following letters to find what you did at bedtime. And if you go from the R of secret, you get retired, and you retire to bed. So that's what you do at bedtime, retired. 17 across. Reading genuine cases about information technology. Well, information technology is often abbreviated to IT. I think we're all familiar with that. Genuine is real. Yeah, okay, so this is recital. So a recital is a reading. So reading here is the straight part, the definition part. We've got a word for genuine, which is real, and that cases, so it goes around the outside of, about information technology. Now, about can be abbreviated usually in two different ways, either RE for regards or regarding, and also C for circa. The Latin circa means about. So C and then IT for information technology gives recital. Now, if you're not sure about some of these standard abbreviations like C and RE for about, I've produced a little PDF which you can download from the link in the description, and there's about 6 or 7 pages, I think, of definitions, abbreviations, standard abbreviations in cryptic crosswords, and there's also, again, another 6 or 7 pages talking about the different clue types that regularly appear in cryptic crosswords. So we had hidden clues earlier, so there's an explanation of how to find hidden clues, how they're often phrased, what they look like, and then we've had we'll have some, I'm sure we'll have some anagrams coming later on, and words like things like cut short and so on. So there's a free PDF you can download. Just click the link, it should automatically download. No need to sign up for anything, certainly no need to pay for anything. If that's of any use to you, then click the link and yeah, enjoy. Okay, 19 across. Requiring new engine crossing Germany. Okay. So new can sometimes be abbreviated to N, but it's also an anagram indicator. And I'm looking at engine. It's only 6 letters, but it does have ing in it. Now, if the straight part of the clue is requiring, it would imply it needs to end, or it's likely to end ing. Germany, yeah, Germany is abbreviated to D for Deutschland quite often. Sometimes it's GER, but often it's D for Deutschland. So if you take a new arrangement of engine and you put that across D for Germany, you get needing, which is requiring. Okay, doing well. 21 across. Begging primarily benefits dogs. Okay, so I'll be looking, so primarily here is an indicator to take the first letter. So I'll be looking for the first letter of begging, followed by a word for benefits that means dogs. Or I'll be looking for the first letter of primarily and a word for dogs, that means begging. Well, either way, that's a B, I think. So dogs here, sometimes it can be a breed of dog, like an Alsatian or a Dachshund or whatever. And sometimes to dog somebody is to hassle them, to harass them, to follow them, to tail them. Yeah, I don't know. Let's go on. 22 across. Hard work editor expected. That's a nice clue. Fairly brief, but the answer is hoped. So H is a standard definition of a standard abbreviation, of hard. Work is often abbreviated to op, as in operating. Work can sometimes be on as well, but in this case it's op. An editor is a standard abbreviation ed. So H, op, ed gives hoped, which is expected. 24 across. Swede perhaps, eaten up or abandoned, lacking time. So swede is a vegetable. That's too many letters. Abandoned can be an anagram indicator. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 letters. Yeah, okay. So this is European. So Swede perhaps is the straight part of the clue. And here Swede, although there's phrases like eaten makes you think like it's the Swede as in the vegetable. In fact, we're referring to people from Sweden. Abandoned is the anagram indicator of eaten up or, so if you anagramize all of those, but lacking time, and T is a recognized abbreviation for time. So if you remove the T and you rearrange the other letters of eaten up or, you get European. 27 across. Almost sorry, cheat, upset group of players. Well, a group of players is an orchestra. And it does have cheat in it. Upset. So again, upset here is an anagram indicator. And if you take cheat out of orchestra, you're left with SORR. Okay, so almost sorry is telling us to take almost all of the words sorry. So if you ignore the Y, just SORR, and then cheat, and you anagramize those. So the word upset here to mean anagram, and we get a group of players, which is an orchestra. Okay. 28 across. Perfect card player's declaration. Question mark. Yeah. Okay, nice. So this is ideal. So perfect is ideal. And then a card player's declaration, something a card player might say, is ideal. So it's a nice sort of double definition, really. Card player's declaration and perfect. So double definitions are a standard crossword clue type, along with things like anagrams and hiddens and so on. And the question mark here usually suggests it's a bit of a play on words, or maybe a slight joke, or a sort of witticism in that sense. So yeah, that's kind of what it's saying. 29 across. Return if shoe has half cut off sole. What about fish? I'm not mad on the F at the end of 14 down, but return F. So if you turn the word if backwards, you literally get FI. Shoe with half cut off. If you take the O and the A, so half of the word shoe away, you're left with SH. And a fish is a sole is a type of fish, a flatfish. So I think that's right. So we'll see what happens with that 14 down when we get to it. But anyway, there we go. Last one of the across clues. Royals in clubs repressing urges on the contrary. So on the contrary is an indicator that we need to do the opposite of what the previous words or phrase says. So what we've got So the previous section, this suggests that the straight part of the clue is royals. So we're looking for something to do with royals, royalty, kings and queens, and so on. In clubs, repressing urges, on the contrary, would perhaps suggest we're looking for a word for urges repressing in clubs. And repressing here would mean goes around the outside of or encloses. So a word for urges with in, and clubs is usually abbreviated to C. Yeah, so this is princesses. So in C is in clubs, in C, in the middle of presses, P-R-E-S-S-E-S. So to press is to urge. So we have in C within presses, meaning royals, which are princesses. Great. Okay, that's a pretty good start. I've got most of the across clues apart from 2 there. That's good. Let's see how we get on with the down clues. We've got plenty of checking letters here. We should be in good shape here. Fancy week with that fellow. Yeah, so this is whim. So a whim is a fancy. Week is abbreviated to W, in sort of calendar terms, D for day, M for month, W for week. That fellow is him. Oops, it is if I spell it right. Him. Don't put the M there. So him underneath W for week gives whim, which is fancy. 2 down. Pull down idlest man's pants. Okay, well, I don't think we're looking at debagging anybody here. Pants is an anagram indicator in a sort of colloquial sense, meaning rubbish. Something is pants, it's rubbish. An idlest man, I-D-L-E-S-T-M-A-N, has the 9 letters we're looking for, and certainly they all appear in what we have here. Looking at the letters that we have, I think that's dismantle. So dismantle is to pull down, and it's an anagram of idlest man, with pants being the anagram indicator. Good. 3 down. Genesis without number 1 in pop career. So Genesis, obviously we're meant to think of the pop group Genesis, but I don't think that's the case here. Number 1, so number is sometimes abbreviated to N-O. 1 can be I, the Roman numeral. But I don't see either of those here. No, let's go on. Okay. Reply about relative entertains papa and daughter. Okay, so this looks like the word means reply. D is an abbreviation for daughter. We have that here. Papa is the NATO phonetic alphabet letter for P. Yeah, this is respond. So here we have about abbreviated to re. As I mentioned earlier on, down here somewhere it was C, circa. Where was that? Under recital, wasn't it? C for circa. Here, about is abbreviated to re. A relative is a son, S-O-N. Entertains papa, so it contains the letter P for papa. D for daughter at the end. Gives respond, which is to reply. 5 down. Non-specialist. This looks like it should be amateur from the letters. Friend, yeah, admitted by a university with little resistance. Yeah, so a friend is a mate. U for university, so U is an recognised abbreviation for university. R is a recognised abbreviation for resistance in sort of scientific notation. V equals IR. All those good things in physics, which you might remember. And somebody who's a non-specialist would be an amateur. King tries ignoring river birds. So king appears quite often. It can be abbreviated to K, which is the chess notation. It can also be abbreviated to R for Rex, just as Queen is abbreviated to Regina, also R. We've got the R here. Well, rheas. Rheas are birds. They're not river birds, but to try somebody is to hear them. So this is a try, as in a trial. So if you try someone, you hear them. R is a recognised abbreviation for river. So if you take the R from hears, you get HEAS, along with the R gives rheas, which are birds, large birds. Okay, 8 down. Still without formal proposal? Question mark. Yeah, so this is motionless. So similar, we had the card player's declaration question mark. This is a little bit of a play on words. So without a formal proposal would be without a motion, so you would be motionless, and something that's still is motionless. And the question mark here is that motionless isn't really a word in that true sense, but it's a kind of play on words, a little joke, if you like. Good. 9 down. Casts back shows. Cast back shows. Well, back is a reversal indicator. So is it a word meaning casts put back to mean shows? Either way, it looks like there's probably an S there. Let's see if that helps later on. Don't know. Nice baker might give you this. Okay, yeah. So this isn't nice baker. This is Nice baker. Nice as in the town in France. And the answer is a French loaf. Okay, and I got that primarily from the letters we had down here, O and F together. There aren't many words that fit into that. And then as soon as you think of loaf and baker, and then Nice, and Nice appears actually quite often to refer to something French. So it might be a French word, for example, that they talk about said in Nice, because it's spelt nice and can trick you up. Okay, 16 down. Animals controlled here, as Cockney says. Yep, so this is reindeer. So as Cockney says is literally the indicator to say, as somebody from the East End of London might say, where they often drop H's, for example. So here becomes ear. Controlled is reined, R-E-I-N-E-D. And all of this is kind of a homophone indicator, so sounds like reined here, reindeer gives reindeer, which is an animal. Good. 19 down. Adolescents, yeah, irregularly eat greens. Yeah, this one's fairly straightforward. This is teenagers. So adolescents obviously are teenagers. Irregularly here is the anagram indicator for eat greens, and if you rearrange the letters of eat greens, you get teenagers. 20 down. Bigger electronic cutting utensil used by chef. Okay, well, this is bigger electronic is an odd combination of two words, so I think it means bigger, which would be greater. Yeah, okay. So a utensil used by a chef would be a grater, G-R-A-T-E-R. E for electronic, again, that's another standard abbreviation. And cutting, so in the middle of cutting into, a utensil used by chef. So the E amongst greater gives greater with an E, meaning bigger. Steel goat eye regularly found in shed. So we've got regularly again, and regularly again is an indicator to take regular letters or alternate letters. So the alternate letters of steel would be S-E-L. That doesn't look like it fits with any of the checking letters. T-A maybe. If it meant steel, then G-A, yeah, that's G-A. bargain. Okay, so a bargain is a steal. If you get something for a good price, it's a bargain. It's a steal. The shed here is a barn, B-A-R-N, and goat I regularly is G-A-I in the middle. Gives bargain, which is steal. Chooses things guitarists might use. Yep. So this is another double definition type clue. A word that means chooses, and a word for things that guitarists might use. Obviously, guitarists use picks, plectrums picks, to play their guitars. Sit, maintaining one's composure. Yeah, again, the letters here are quite helpful. This is poise. So to sit is to pose, P-O-S-E. Maintaining one, so including the letter I, which is the Roman numeral for one, gives composure, which is poise. Positive quality, luxurious hotels missing. Yep, this is plus. So a positive quality is a plus. So this is the straight part, the definition part. Luxurious, something that's luxurious is plush. And H is a recognized abbreviation for hotel. So if you remove the H missing from plush, you get plus. Gives you positive quality. Great. Okay, not too many left to go. Let's have a look at this one. If this really is S. Begging primarily benefits dogs. Yeah, so benefits are assets. So it's begging primarily, which is B. Benefits assets gives bassets, which are dogs. Okay, casts back, shows, reflects. Yeah, I suppose so. This is I think another double definition clue. So to cast something back, you reflect it, and to show something is to reflect that particular thing, that particular trait or example, I think. So it's a double definition, casts back and shows. Okay, 2 to go. Large parcel oddly wrapped in blue blanket. Parcel oddly is P-R-E. So if that was P-R-E, widespread. Widespread. Why is that widespread? So P-R-E. Large is wide. Yeah, large is wide. Blue is sad. S-A-D. So parcel oddly, P-R-E, wrapped in blue, so contained within sad. Following large, so wide for large gives widespread, which is blanket. Okay, last one. Genesis, without number one in pop career. Well, if Genesis is the start of something, what about speed? Yeah, I think that's right. So to speed is to career in the sense of going quickly and maybe even out of control, you career around. Number one in pop is P. So it's the first letter, number one letter of pop. So P within seed for Genesis gives speed, which is career. And there we go, just under half an hour. Very good. Enjoyed that. A couple of good clues in there. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found that useful. If you did, then please consider giving the video a like and maybe think about subscribing to the channel so that you get notifications when I produce more videos like this. Try and do a couple of videos a week. And say, if you're interested in my little guide to solving cryptic crosswords with a whole series of sections on the different types of cryptic crosswords, their explanations, how they're formed and so on, and also a comprehensive list of standard abbreviations, then you can download that from the description below as well. With all that being said, we'll stop there, I think. So thanks for joining me today. Enjoy the rest of the day, whatever it is you're doing. See you again soon, hopefully. Thanks a lot. Bye.